Hello, my name is Yvonne, and I'm the creator of the Facebook group page JK Lifestyle and Travel. Today, we're meeting with Brent Johnston. This man can speak on interracial relationships. He's been married to a Black woman for almost 28 years. They have 3 children and 1 grandchild and another grandchild on the way. I saw his YouTube channel and I was so interested in what he had to say because I have questions myself on interracial relationships. Who better to ask than someone who's been in it for a considerable amount of time? Hi, Brent, how are you?
Good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Brent, could you tell me what is your YouTube channel?
My YouTube channel is Roadrunner 89 Investment Network.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What is it that why did you create that YouTube channel? What did you do it?
Okay. I got interested in YouTube. I had watched YouTube videos and people talk about certain things that they're interested in, and I got kind of in the habit of watching other people,
Mhm.
and I decided to make a channel and kind of talk about my life. And when it comes to interracial relationships, dating and marriage, and I wanted to put a positive aspect on it. A lot of times we hear the negatives of it,
Mhm.
and the stereotypes and generalizations, of different racial groups of people. And I wanted to show that it can be a blessing, that it can work. And actually, there's a number of interracial marriages that do work and do stand the test of time.
Mhm.
And we don't see that a lot.
No.
And you see YouTube channels with interracial couples and stuff, and it's neat and everything. But I wanted to put a positive aspect on it. I wanted to show the blessing of it. And my marriage, it's been a blessing the whole way.
Mhm.
Um, my wife, she's awesome, and we've been married for so long. And I talk about the different things we might go through. Um, the barriers when you're interracially dating are, and sometimes we don't get there because of those barriers. And sometimes people have their heart broken because they're afraid of what society thinks, friends, family. And I just want to tell my story and how it can be a blessing, how it is a blessing. And we're finding something that's amazing when it comes to Black women and white men. Our marriages seem to last longer. They seem to be more successful. And I want to tell that story. I know why they last. And not every marriage group lasts, but I know why ours are more successful, why they last longer. And it's how we go about, you know, getting together, because we vet each other and don't even know it. Because Black women have an idea about white men, what they've been told and stuff. And a lot of them are scared. They think we're crazy or some kind of monster. And it's not that, they've heard things. And when you don't know about a group, sometimes you think a certain way. And, both white men, Black women, a lot of times think the other is not interested. So sometimes we don't, uh, get together, you might say, or it's just not in the norm, but it can be a blessing. And I found that, you know, I've always been attracted to Black women since I was a teenager. And, there's just something about them. And, that led to me finding my wife. But we've had a blessed life. Has there been racial tensions with? Yeah, but it's not with me and my wife. It's usually outside sources, people that don't like it.
Now, one thing that I was wondering,
Yes.
well, white, there are things that a Black woman experiences,
Mhm.
racial, at a job, you maybe have to deal with glass ceilings, opportunities that opportunities that you're not given and you have to fight for, and you may still not get it then.
Mhm.
And sometimes I look at a white guy, and there's such a thing as white privilege. And then I say, if he marries or if he dates a Black woman, how is he going to feel if he sees her go through these type of things? If he cares about her, how does he feel watching her go through these type of things? And is he brave enough, or not brave, but does he have what it takes
Mhm.
to deal with some of the things that may come his way because he is dating a Black woman? Or
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great question. And you do have to have the courage for it to last. And if you see her go through it, of course, it's going to break your heart. It's going to hurt. It's going to make you mad. Um, and you just have to be strong enough because, and both me and my wife experienced a little bit about what you're talking about. Um, you know, our doors have been open for the most part. We really haven't had no racial uh things happen to us because of it. We've had things happen. I remember when I was in the army, when I first went in, it was like my leader or whatever, it was like he liked me, he thought I was doing a good job, he thought I was almost talked like I walked on water, right?
Mhm.
And then he met my wife, and then all of a sudden, I couldn't do nothing right. He
Mhm.
didn't come out and say, "Hey, it's because you're white," or no, but I felt that, and I had to struggle through that through trying to get promoted. That was one thing, and I made through. I got through it, but it was tougher than it should have been.
Mhm.
It was like you're looked at. It's like looking for a fault,
Mhm.
and my wife's been through that. Like she had her job. She worked for this lady, and when I came in and she saw that, yeah, your husband's white. Um, and it affected my wife's job. Like same thing in my situation. You can do nothing right. Something, or just um yeah, that thing does happen.
Mhm.
Those are two instances. Most of the time things were good. Um, but yeah, that does come up. And it does hurt to see the other person struggle through that or have to go through that. And on both ends, me and my wife, it brings us closer
Mhm.
together, and it just people think that that would tear you apart going through that, but with us, it brought us closer together. Like, you know what? It don't matter what's thrown at us. We're going to make it through. We're going, you know, it's us. It's like us against the world, and we're going to be victorious through this. And it. When you get in an interracial relationship, especially a marriage, you got to be strong enough to go through that stuff. Of course, it's a lot easier than it would be like in the 60s and stuff, with the Loving versus Virginia. If you study their case, they were able to hang together and make it work. And he was actually, people wouldn't give him a job because of his wife. So I haven't had it like that, but there still is people that will, hold that against you and try to hurt you in some way, you know, and and but me and my wife love each other more than societal problems, more than any racism or bigotry or any of that stuff. And that's why our marriage has lasted. And those type of things, brings us together when we're fighting for each other.
Mm,
Um, and it makes it last. I've said this many times, I think with black women, white men, the reason our marriages work better than our counterparts,
mhm,
you know, and it's not that we're better people or anything like that. We just go about it a better way, more strategic. Plus, in today's world, it seems like that group is the most attacked when interracial relationships, you know,
mhm,
black women are shamed of not, being like traitorous. They'll even call them bed wenches and horrible stuff like that. And then us as white men, we have to prove that we're not the monster that these stereotypes create us out to be, like fetishizers, like you know what I mean?
mhm.
Or I've heard people say white men are the most violent when they get violent and all this stuff. And that's negative, meant to make you look bad or hurt, but actually it makes you better because you're trying to be the best that you are. And I think that has an impact because it's like you're getting beat up before you even, get into the relationship. So it's like you kind of get a preview of what you're going to face. Where, in my opinion, I think black men and white women, they come together a lot easier. It's like it's easier for them to just jump into it.
Mhm,
But to me, I don't think there's any real vetting there.
mhm,
But with us, the other way, it's like we go through that, and when we get to that point, it's more than a lot of times more than the physical. It's like we want something more. Of course,
mhm,
that physical attraction and stuff's there, and the desires, but it's like we're going for more than just that. And not to say they don't want that either. I just think how we go about it, what we're put through. And black women, they really, from what I see, they really go through it when they interracially date or marry. It's like they get it worse than all of us. I
mhm.
believe that to be true.
In what way?
Just how they're shamed and stuff.
By
You know,
family or by society? Like, for instance, if you go to the store
uh,
together, you go to the mall, you go out to dinner, those type of
um,
things,
I
socially as well as
uh,
professionally?
I think there's bits and pieces in all of that.
Mhm,
I know with my wife, she had a couple friends that tried to talk her out of it. For the most part, her family was okay with it. But I've heard people that have family members that don't like it. I know when I was dating, back in the 80s and 90s, um, the early 90s before I got married, when I was in my teens and 20s, there were black women that would go out with me, would date me, but kind afraid to bring me home, right? Because their father didn't like it, or
mhm.
and that's one aspect. And society, there's still people in there that don't like it. People ain't going to be vocal like maybe in the past, but they'll still show ways of hate. Um, but I think it's in all elements, and we're seeing in social media. So some men are coming out calling black women bed wenches and traitors, and just kind of smearing them for dating out. And we all get a little of that, but I think black women get the most of, from what I see. Now, I'm not a black woman, so I can't tell you that's absolute truth. But from what I see and from what I've talked to black women, uh, friends that I have, my wife, it just seems like people do have a problem with it. Like, um,
You know what I think though, what I believe?
mhm,
I believe that, and I could be wrong, I believe that white men have a stereotype opinion about Black women. I
mhm,
think they look at us as sexual objects. I could be wrong,
mhm,
but I feel like that's what they do. They look at us as, I think they don't take the time, and I guess they don't have to have a reason to do it, but they don't take the time to get to know a woman of color, And so when you meet them, at least if I meet them, that's on my mind. They probably think this of me,
Mhm.
stereotypes and everything. And so I guess I don't trust. I'm not that easy to trust them.
No, I hear you. There are men like that. Surely that is true. But a lot of us aren't like that. A lot of us just love black women. A lot of us, uh, we just think black women are beautiful and we want to be with them. There
Why?
are, huh?
Why? Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Okay, I could tell you why I do. I just think black women are beautiful. I, black women have a big heart. I've had a positive experience with black women when from the time I was little and growing up. Is there some that weren't like that? Sure, yes. But you know, I see the true beauty in black women. I do. That's always been my preference. And it's not just because, oh, I think, I'm looking at her with some kind of desire. No. Now, us as men and women do have desires for each
I
other. It's
know.
it's
I
it's
know.
natural.
I know
Um,
what you're saying.
but yeah, there are white men like that that just think, oh, what would it be like to be with a black woman or have some fantasy? Um, but there's a lot of us that just would love to date you, would love to get to know you, that really do want relationships. And you're seeing the ones out there with that are marrying black women that their relationships are thriving. Um, but and that's something that you see some men doing that, and sometimes us as people we assume that a lot of them are like that. So I see what you're saying, um, but we're not all like that, and I think you got to vet people on both sides to really get to know them. It's like the stereotype that they perceive in the media, and I've seen it even on YouTube. I've seen black men say this, that black women are loud and crazy and doing all this stuff. And from what I see in my life, dealing with black women, that I've been around, I don't see that at all. In fact, I've seen great qualities where they're, successful, educated. Um, I've seen them when I was going to college, and you know, at work I see them, and I don't see that loud black woman image, that stereotype that they put out there. Um, are there some like that? Sure, there are people of all groups that get loud and crazy. Um, but I think there's a misconception because black women a lot of times they're just passionate in what they believe. I mean, I've had discussions where, they'll get into the subject and they'll start talking and their voice will get a little loud and they just go in on it. But that's passion. That ain't she's crazy and just wants to get loud. Um, Sometimes we, have a misconception of that. A lot of times people will be speaking truth and facts, and their voice will be loud because they're passionate,
Mhm.
but they're right. To where if some people will speak soft and, oh yeah, I get it. You know, um, Sometimes when you're passionate, that comes out. And I think that's a misconception. Um, but what I've seen black women that are professional and traditional. And the black women I deal with in my neighborhood and work, a lot of them are professional. You know, when I go to church, they have that traditional family faith in God, and that's what I see. And I'm not all over the country in different parts, but what I've seen from black women, and I'm talking from the inner city to very wealthy, it just seems that black women got a big heart. They're very passionate, and they have a lot of emotions. And to me, some people think that's a negative. I find that attractive. I think it's good to be passionate and believe in what you do. and emotions. I think women with emotions is a positive thing. I think it's a good thing. Um, and that's what I see looking in. And a lot, and some of the stereotypes are changing. The
When you talk
go ahead.
about, what about cultural type things? Have you noticed a difference in culture?
Yeah, there's some differences, sure. Um,
What can you tell me some of them?
the cultural differences
Hmm.
from what I see. Well,
Or anything different in your household now than what you grew up with?
anything different?
Hmm.
Um, really, honestly, I see some differences in my wife's family. Um, it seems like when it comes to family and stuff, they're more they have more gatherings. They'll have like family reunions and stuff. And my family really don't do that.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
and that's a cultural thing I see. And they have barbecues and stuff. Well, we do. We have barbecues too, but not like black people do. And I find this amazing, you know, being around my wife's family because she got family in Texas and Mississippi, and they have family reunions from both sides of her family, and it's to me that's awesome. That's great. Coming together and just people from the family has the time they get together. And us as white people, yeah, we have relationships with our family members, but not like that. Um, it seems like and in fact, I would love to have that with my family. And with me and my brother, um, I talked to him about that. I says, you know what, we need to get our families together and do this and start a tradition. Maybe it'll last for years, maybe not, but that's something I see that black people do that I embrace. I think it's awesome. And like I said, us generally, I'm sure there's white families that do that, but generally we really don't.
Mhm.
Um, we're just not like that. It's like we're kind of doing our own thing, and
Mhm.
we might get together with a couple family members, but not in a big group like that. I find that awesome. That's what I've seen. Now, in my household with me and my wife, um, there's not a lot of cultural differences, and we grew up in the same town, same place,
Mhm.
and we're both from uh middle working class families. Her father was retired from the army and worked in the post office. My father, he was a fireman and paramedic. So we come from a middle class blue collar family. And you know, and we grew up in the same town. So we've pretty much been to the same places. We do the same thing. Um, and I think there's not much of a cultural shift because my wife grew up mostly around white people. It will be considered a white community, even though
Mhm.
her family's black. In fact, her high school, she was the only black girl on her basketball team, right?
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
mean, I had more of a diverse neighborhood I grew up in than she did, and it's kind of funny because people ask me where I met her, and I tell them, they're like, "Shut up there. There's no black people up there." Well, there is, but you know what I mean.
Mhm.
Um, so there ain't really a big cultural within our family. I mean, there's some differences, um, but I mostly see it when we visit her family. You know, not her immediate family, but the rest of her family, and I see those cultural differences. Now, here's the thing: when it comes to culture, to me, that's not a problem. In fact, we can pick things out of each culture and create our own. And my
Mhm.
brother told me this. He says, "Man, you and your wife are amazing because you're creating your own culture. You're doing your own thing. And I think when you're in an interracial marriage, you got to be open minded to that. See what they're doing. You might like it.
Mhm.
I've heard black women say that, you know, when they're with their husbands uh, or who they're dating, that they try going doing outdoor things, and they're like, "Hey, I actually like doing this. I never thought about it,"
Yeah.
and vice versa. Um,
Mhm.
that can be a blessing. Some people say, "Well, there's such a cultural thing; it's going to be problems." Why? Why does it have to be a problem? Unless you're trying to push your culture over theirs and trying to do it this way. But
Mhm.
when you're in a marriage, it's a give and take. You're not, you can't be a dictator. And when it comes to the family and stuff, and I'm a traditional guy. I'm a man of faith. I think the man is the leader, but he's not a dictator. I
Mhm.
mean, um, and the marriage, it's a give and take. You know,
Mhm.
you're both bringing something to it. And culture does come with it. Me and my wife, it's not so different, and it's just how we grew up. But if she grew up like maybe some other state or something, there might be a lot more differences. Um, so I can't really tell you all all these things. There's certain things I see, but with me and my wife, we love each other and we're going to make it work, and we have. And the cultural difference thing is a good thing. Embrace it, you know.
Well, Brett, thank you for coming on today.
Oh, okay. Thanks for having me.
I I really like what you said. And I like the fact that you have made it work almost 30 years,
Mhm,
children, grandchildren, dealing with society, which I know you had your challenging moments just from
mhm.
being a Black woman myself. Now, I know how challenging it could be just for me, less more bringing somebody into that who probably never experienced that before.
Yeah. Can I make one point real quick
Mhm.
before we go? I would say this to white men or men of other races that date black women, and I think this creates some sort of a problem. Is when black women talk, listen. You might not believe what they're saying because you don't experience it, but and sometimes we get a misconception. She might be, you know, giving you something she's going through, and it might be a racial thing. It might seem like totally crazy because you don't live that. I would just say take it as truth and listen. Sometimes you find out stuff you never even know. And as a well, with black women, we don't know what you go through. I don't. I've been married to a black woman for several years and I still don't know everything you guys go through. But the thing of it is just being caring, coming with love, and trying to understand. Even if you don't, showing that love. I would say just do that. Don't take it like, okay, you don't live it. That don't mean it don't exist. So I just wanted to say that. And I think that's sometimes becomes a problem because we don't understand. And us as guys, sometimes we're tunnel vision and we don't tap into that emotion and show love in that way. And we need to. And that goes a long way. But anyway, I just wanted to say that.
I think that's an excellent point to make. That's an excellent point to make. You know, someone has an experience, listen and validate it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. And yeah, but I just say this, black women are beautiful, and there's guys, like myself, that we love you. We actually love you. And it's not a desire or a fetish. It's just we love being around you. And I fell in love with black women when I was 5. I tell this story. I had a babysitter that was taking care of me when I was a boy.
Mhm.
She gave me candy, called me big guy, and I thought, a little kid, that's great. You know, little things of love like that, that sinks in. And the relationships I had with Black women, and I'm not just talking dating, just friendship, getting to
Mhm.
really know them, know how. And a lot of Black women have a big heart. You show them some love, you're getting it back. You really are. I've experienced that.
Mhm.
Um, and Black women to me are the hidden treasure. They're there in front of us. And I think that's another reason why our marriages are lasting. It's because of you ladies, Black women, the qualities you have, the heart you have, the passion. You know, it goes beyond the physical. Now, is
Mhm.
there men that are looking at you for physical and fantasy? Yes, yes. Us as men, uh, they're men like that. You got to vet them, but
Mhm.
we can come together, and we do, and it's a beautiful thing, and I like to see it. Um, you know, but anyway, I mean, I could go on all day, you know, talking about this, but
Well, I'm glad you came on, and I'll definitely be in touch with you again.
okay, yeah.
Definitely.
Anytime, send me an email, and I do apologize for you know uh for this morning. It just the time change and and but
No,
I
that's no problem, Brett. Tell me your YouTube channel again.
it's Roadrunner 89, Roadrunner 89 Investment Network. And it's kind of long. Uh, I can explain the name and what all the meaning is.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, well, the Roadrunner, okay. That's I'm in New Mexico. That's our state bird, right?
Mhm.
The Roadrunner.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, the Roadrunner, when the Roadrunner mates with the female, the
Mhm.
male stays with the female his whole life. The Roadrunner don't mate with other females. It stays with one its whole life. And it the male actually helps the female build the nest and get food. And to me, and it's a unique animal, where others will go in the heat and just reproduce off instinct.
Mhm.
This one, it just seems more spiritual. It's like two people together. And I look at it like a marriage. I'm with my wife, one woman, the rest of my life. So that's why I picked Roadrunner. 89 is the year I graduated from high school. That
Mhm.
to me is where my life began. Um, you know, and then investment, um, I consider myself an investor. Okay. And you know, I've invested in Black women, in the Black woman. And
Mhm.
that's been my preference. So when I married my wife, I invested in her. I came with my heart, and all that I am and all that I have, that's my
Mhm.
investment. And the returns have been awesome. I found love, a family, someone that loves me for me. And, you know, so that's where the investment. And then network is just we all coming together and, you know,
Mhm.
not just me talking on YouTube, but having interaction with other people, getting their perspectives.
Mhm.
And that's where that's what the name means. So yeah, that's the meaning behind it.
Yeah, when I named my YouTube channel, I took I have two children, and I took
Uh,
each part a part of each one of their names, and I put it together, and that's how I came up with the name of my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, JK.
oh,
Mhm.
awesome. Yeah. Some of these names have meaning,
Mhm.
and I always think a name means something, Um, even naming my children, there was a meaning behind it. It wasn't just like, you know, just say, hey, I just think that's a good name. Some people do that, but I like to put meaning in it, you
Mhm.
know. So, but yeah,
Meaning and everything.
yeah.
But Brett, Thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, thanks for having me. This was fun. I enjoyed it. And
I did
anytime you
too.
want me to come on or anything, just let me know. And I have my email. I always check my email. Sometimes it takes me a day or two if I get
Mhm.
busy, but I will respond. And you know, but thanks for having me on. I enjoyed this interview and anytime. And
Oh,
I appreciate it.
okay. Thank you. Bye for
Thank you.
now.
All right, bye. Have a good